Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like you're doing everything right, you're eating healthy, you're finally in a good rhythm, you're working out, and all of a sudden you have a trip coming up, whether it's a trip for work or whether it's a vacation coming up. And then you get back from that trip and you all of a sudden feel like you have to start all over again, like you feel like you've failed. You ate the things that you weren't supposed to eat. You didn't work out as much as you wanted to work out. Well, if that's you, then this is a video for you. I lost over 125 pounds and I've kept that off for over 20 years. And so throughout that time, I love traveling. It's one of the things that I love the most. My wife and I love traveling. We love traveling all over the world. And I've been able to keep that weight off throughout the last 20 years. It's actually going to be 23 years this September of 2025. And I've also been in sales at the same time. So I got into health and fitness over 20 years ago, but I've also been in sales. And I've been in a number of different sales roles where I had to travel, I had to run through airports, I had to drive, and I had to stop at different places to find healthy things to eat. And so if this is you, whether it's vacation, whether it's travel for work, this is a video on how to eat healthy while you're traveling and actually enjoy yourself. I'm gonna give you 11 ways to accomplish this, 11 ways to eat healthy while traveling. The first and one of the most important things that you can do is planning ahead. So research shows that if you plan, you're more likely to stick to whatever plan it is that you have, right? So if you think ahead, right, wherever you're gonna be, whether it's restaurants that you might have dinner at, look at the menu online. A lot of times you can go online and you can look at these menus and see what they have and pick a choice when maybe you're not ravenously hungry, and you can make a good choice about what your plan is to eat when you get to that restaurant. The other way that you can plan ahead is to pack healthy snacks. So when I know that I'm gonna be flying or I'm gonna be driving for a long time, the first thing I do is I pack in my book bag healthy protein snacks. I get apples, I might get a banana or two. I get things that I know I'm gonna enjoy and things that are healthy, things that fit within my plan. So that whenever I find myself in a situation where I'm a bit hungry and I don't have the best options around me in terms of what to pick and choose, I have a backup plan, which is I brought, protein bars, I brought an apple, I brought a banana, whatever it is that I brought. So make sure that you have a good plan B, a good backup plan by planning ahead and by making sure that you have some nice snacks in your bag, stashed on whatever it is that you enjoy so that you can make sure you have a backup plan. The second thing you can do is you can make sure that you stay hydrated. So we're always going to make better decisions when we're hydrated. Believe it or not, a lot of times when people think that they're hungry, they're just thirsty. And so what I tell some of my clients to do when I have my personal one-on-one sessions with clients is I say, if you feel like you're hungry, and a lot of times they'll tell me, Eddie, I'm snacking a lot. I can't stop snacking. I say, next time you feel like you're hungry for a snack, grab a bottle of water. So grab, a bottle of water, a cup of water, and basically have a good, nice glass of water, and then wait about 10 or 15 minutes. If you're still hungry after those 10 or 15 minutes, then go ahead and have that snack because you're probably really hungry. Most of the time though, you're gonna notice that after having that water, you're not gonna be hungry anymore and you're just gonna go about your day. So make sure that you stay hydrated. Another note on staying hydrated is that you wanna make sure that you stay hydrated if you're having any alcoholic drinks, and then stay away from the sugary stuff, right? So stick to the 0-calorie stuff. If you like sparkling water will sometimes keep you more full, but stay away from sugary drinks. And then if you do drink alcohol, make sure that you actually have to kind of overcompensate a little and have a little extra water because you're gonna be dehydrating yourself with the alcohol. Number 3 is choosing balanced meals. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm probably telling you the opposite of what most people will tell you, which is, eat low carb or eat low fat or eat only meat. There's a lot of different diets out there that tell you specific things. I'm gonna tell you to eat a balanced meal. The reason why I'm gonna tell you to eat a balanced meal while you're traveling is because it's gonna keep you full for a longer period of time. And with a balanced meal that's healthy in fats, healthy in carbs, and healthy in protein, what you're doing is you're actually getting the right amount of micronutrients. And so you're gonna feel better. The micronutrients, even though you're not counting them on a calculator or whatever, and you're not adding them up, those micronutrients help you feel better. They help you with mind clarity, with verbal fluency. They just kind of make you function better overall. And so by having a balanced meal, get some fiber in, get some protein in, get some carbs in, make it a healthy carb, and get some healthy fats in, avocados, nuts if you can limit them. things like that. Make sure you have a balanced meal so you don't feel like you're depriving yourself, and you're also getting the right amount of micronutrients that are going to help keep you happy and keep you satisfied. The next pointer is to be mindful of portion sizes. Now, if you live in the US like myself, then typically you have to be mindful of portion sizes when you're here. And when you go abroad, like I like to travel to Italy, to France, to Spain, a lot of times the portion sizes over there are smaller actually. So when you go abroad to Europe, a lot of times you won't really have to worry too much about that. Now, there is something about being on vacation and feeling like you can, let loose and eat more than you usually would. And so in that case, I would say, please make sure that you're looking at portion sizes and so forth. But for the most part, if you order pasta in Italy, it's going to be a much smaller portion size of pasta, for example. If you order pasta here, it's going to be a lot bigger. So if you're traveling within the United States, make sure that you limit your portion sizes. Just always be mindful of that, because no matter what you're eating, whether it's healthy food or not healthy food, at the end of the day, the amount of calories is what's going to make the biggest difference in terms of your weight loss or weight gain. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on portion sizes. If you don't know or aren't sure what portion sizes fit your macros and fit kind of your diet that you're following now, then what I would do is I recommend everybody track their calories for about a week or so. That kind of resensitizes you to remember what it is to have a serving of rice, a serving of olive oil, a teaspoon of olive oil, how many calories are in an avocado, how many calories are in an egg, things like that. So you want to make sure that you look at portion sizes, and you want to make sure that depending on where you are, that you're kind of limiting those portion sizes. Again, if you're abroad, they're going to be smaller, so you're probably okay. But if you're here in the US and you go to like a chain restaurant, places like, Cheesecake Factory and all these big, PF Chang's, places like that have huge portion sizes and 1,500 calorie meals. You got to be careful with that. Eat, whatever it is that you need until you're full. Number 5, opt for local cuisine. So if you are traveling in a specific part of the country and there's some foods that are local to that area, then try to eat those foods. If they're local, they're probably going to be more fresh, and you'll be able to get easier access to those foods. They might even be a little cheaper. When you're abroad, make sure that you eat local, because number one, you want to enjoy. If I'm in Italy, I want to make sure that I eat some local foods. If I'm in Spain, I want to make sure I eat some local foods, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I travel, is for the culture and the food. So I want to be able to enjoy that stuff. It's probably going to be fresher. So it's just going to add to my enjoyment and the health overall. So make sure that you pick local foods depending on what area you're in, and make sure that you're obviously paying attention to the other pointers that we mentioned in terms of portion sizes, in terms of choosing balanced meals and things like that. Tip number 6, don't skip breakfast. I know a lot of people will tell you if you're trying to limit your calories, you want to skip breakfast. If you're doing intermittent fasting, that's one thing, and if you're purposely doing it. But while you're traveling, you're going to be exposed to a lot of different food options depending on where you are. And I would say there's a plus and a minus to this. If you feel like you're going to be around a ton of food that you really can't resist, then I would say maybe you do skip breakfast and then you have a bigger lunch and a bigger dinner. But for the most part, don't skip breakfast, because what happens a lot of times is that if you do skip breakfast, you're going to end up being hungrier later on, and you're going to want to snack more, and you're going to be around a lot of food. And when you're hungry and you're out and about and you're walking around and stuff, you're going to want to snack on more stuff. You might even come across some sweets and different things that typically you wouldn't want to eat, but because you're hungry, you're going to say, you know what, I'm on vacation or I'm traveling, I'm going to have this donut, or I'm going to have this croissant, or this, pastry, whatever it is. So make sure that you stay full on protein on the basics, and having a good, healthy, protein-rich breakfast is one of the best ways that you can do this. Tip number 7 is make sure that you're snacking smart. So for people who are traveling within the US, you're traveling for work, or maybe even if you're traveling abroad for work, again, this goes back to my point of making sure that you have snacks available, so that if you're in an airport and you don't find any snacks, and these days airports have better options, you can get hard-boiled eggs, you can get yogurts and stuff like that, but they used to not have those options. So what I always recommend is, no matter where you are, whether you're driving for 3 hours or whether you're flying, make sure that you pack your own snacks so that you can have some really good, healthy options to snack on. Things like apples, bananas, fresh fruit, things like veggies, cut up veggies, if it'll travel well and if you have some way to keep it. Or bring your own sandwich, bring your own snacks that you know that you enjoy. Bring them with you, bring protein bars. A lot of times, if you're in an airport and stuff like that, you can find some really good protein drinks. Chocolate milk, even, is not a bad option if it doesn't have a lot of sugar. So there's a lot of different options, but make sure that when you are snacking, that you're snacking smart and that you're trying to keep full on protein or you're trying to keep full on fiber. Tip number 8, avoid fast food traps. Now, this goes to some of my previous points where I mentioned you're always trying to fight this thing about not finding yourself in a situation where you're really hungry. Because what happens if A, you're really hungry because you didn't load up on protein or you didn't have breakfast, so all of a sudden you're ravenously hungry, and then B, you go to reach for your snacks and you didn't bring any protein snacks. You didn't bring anything that you can kind of fall back on, that plan B that I mentioned earlier. If you don't have that plan B, then all of a sudden you're going to resort to the easiest thing available. And a lot of times, if you're in a rush and you're driving around or you're running through an airport, you're not going to sit down and have a meal that's a little bit healthier at a sit down place. You're probably going to go through drive through because it's cheaper and because it's easier and quicker. It's just more convenient. Or you're going to stop at a gas station and get a hot dog or something like that. So avoid the fast food traps. And the way that you do that is by planning ahead, making sure you have your own snacks and scouting out the area that you're going to be in and make sure, hey, I'm going to be going through this area around this time. I might get hungry. So let me stop at this restaurant that I know is going to have some healthy options. Tip number 9, listen to your body. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to your hunger signals and your fullness signals. When you're sitting down and you're having a meal, make sure that you understand what it feels like to feel full. Make sure that you kind of get comfortable with those signals. Make sure that, again, you know when it's real hunger versus what I mentioned earlier about having a glass of water and then all of a sudden realizing that you're not that hungry after all. So make sure that if you're filling up on protein, if you're having enough, fiber, if you're getting balanced meals, if you're eating fresh, whole foods, then for the most part, your body's going to give you those hunger and fullness signals at the right time, and you'll be able to guide yourself with that. If you're eating a lot of processed food, if you're eating a lot of stuff that comes in a bag or a box and things like that, then probably what happens is that signal is going to get interrupted and you're going to keep eating and eating and eating, and you're not going to feel full. You're not going to get that fullness signal from your body. So make sure that you're paying attention to your body, listen to your hunger signals, and also remember this fact. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on the person, for that signal to get from your stomach saying it's full all the way to the brain, where you realize, oh, okay, I'm full. That's why eating slow is one of the things that a lot of people mention when trying to, eat healthy and stay on a plan. If you eat slowly, then it gives your body some time for that signal to go from the stomach to the brain to say, oh, I'm full, I don't have to keep eating anymore. So try to take your time, try to enjoy and savor your food, savor your bites, and really just kind of listen to your body. And hopefully you'll have those hunger signals come in at the right time so that you don't have to overeat. Or you can do like the Japanese do, where they have a saying that says, eat until you're 85% full. That's also a really good trick. Eat until you're about 85% full. Chances are that 85% is really 100%. It's just that the signal hasn't gone from your stomach to your brain yet, and it hasn't told you that you're full. Number 10, I love this one. This is a great tip, and it's basically practice moderation. And what that means essentially is when I travel to Paris, I'm going to have a pain au chocolat because I love that. My wife's going to have croissants. Like, we're going to enjoy the foods that are local that we enjoy. If I'm traveling for work, maybe it's a little bit different. Even though if I am in a specific place and I want to try something that's very unique to that place, I'm going to try that food. And it's okay for you to do that too. You don't want to come back from your vacation feeling like you didn't enjoy your vacation, or you don't want to come back from your trip feeling like you missed out on an opportunity to have some local cuisine and some treat that you can only get in that place. So make sure that you take everything and into moderation and practice moderation and realize that it's okay. One meal or two meals is not going to ruin all of the progress that you've made thus far. So give yourself the permission to eat a snack or a treat here and there, it's not going to ruin all of the progress that you've made. As long as you're consistent for the most part, you know, you're eating 80% of the time the way that you want to eat. That other 20% you can fill in with some snacks and some treats that you really enjoy. And when you're traveling, especially when you're on vacation, you want to be able to do that because, at least for me, that's part of the enjoyment of traveling. When I go to Italy, I want to have Italian food. I want to have tiramisu. I want to enjoy my red wine. I want to do things like that. So I'm going to enjoy all of that stuff, but in the context of all of the tips that I've just mentioned here today. Number 11, and our final tip, is stay active. Now, look, the reality is in my sales roles in the past, because I've worked in sales for a long time and I don't do this YouTube thing full time yet. And so I know what it's like to have to drive for 4 hours from one state to the next to visit clients and stuff like that. So I know what that's like. And I know that a lot of times if you're driving, it's hard to obviously walk around and stay active if you're driving. Now, what I will say is I always made sure that I got some kind of walking or some kind of activity before my trip or after my trip. So if you're going to be on a long stretch, you're going to be on an 8-hour flight and you're going abroad, for example, make sure that when you get to your new destination, and you're probably going to be in a different time zone when you get there, that you try to go for a walk, try to do some kind of activity, because moving is good for the body. Moving is good for the metabolism. It's good for your blood sugar control. No matter what you're eating, moving is going to help you. It's going to help your body just kind of stay healthy, and it's going to help your body burn any extra calories that you eat while you're on vacation or while you're traveling for work. So keep that in mind. Just try to stay active. It doesn't mean that you need to do your regular workout while you're traveling. When I was on vacation, I just got back from about 12 days in France, in Paris mostly. I didn't lift and work out, do any strength training at all while I was there. Now, what I did do is I did a lot of walking. So I walked a lot. I didn't even, do some stuff that I would tell clients to do really, which is like do push-ups. You can do body weight squats. You can do push-ups, and you can do that stuff. But when I went to Paris, I didn't do any of that stuff. I just walked. I stayed active. And when I got back, I didn't feel like I had set myself back. I felt like I enjoyed my trip. I felt like I enjoyed the local foods. And guess what? I didn't gain any weight when I got back. And I was right back to my routine, and I got right back into my strength training sessions and into my, cardio and all the regular stuff that I do. And so I don't feel like I missed out on any of the food, but I also stayed active. I walked around a lot. I made sure that we just kind of, in enjoying the sights when you're on vacation, hopefully you're walking a lot if you're in a city. If not, if you have a gym, scope out your hotel. Maybe you have a gym there. Maybe you can get up early in the morning and do some workouts. It doesn't have to be the perfect workout that you do at home. As long as you're staying active, you should be okay. So there you go, guys. That's 11 tips on how to stay healthy while you're traveling and how to eat healthy while you're traveling. Let's go over them really quick. I'm gonna look at my notes. Number 1, plan ahead. Make sure that you're planning ahead with snacks. Make sure that you know the areas that you're gonna be in and what potential restaurants you can go to if you're gonna be out and you're gonna be eating out. Number 2, stay hydrated, drink water. Make sure that you're staying hydrated and make sure that if you're drinking alcohol, that you're upping the water even a little more. Number 3, choose balanced meals. Don't feel like you have to eliminate any type of food groups. Make sure that you're getting enough protein, fiber, carbs, healthy fats. Just make sure that you're getting balanced meals. Number 4, be mindful of your portions. Make sure that you understand that if you're in the US, portions are a lot bigger. So you might want to watch your portions based on that versus what you have at home. If you're abroad, portions might be a little smaller, so you might be okay there. Number 5, opt for local cuisine. If you're traveling abroad or if you're traveling in a place where you want to try their local cuisine, enjoy it. Enjoy those foods. You're only going to be there for that time, so make sure you enjoy it. If you're going to a specific city or state that has a really cool food, if you're in Philly and you want to try a Philly cheesesteak, or you're in Chicago where I used to live and you want to have some deep dish pizza, have some deep dish pizza. Mind your portion controls, but have some deep dish pizza. Don't end up regretting it and not having it just because you're trying to be quote unquote healthy. All right. Number 6, don't skip breakfast. Again, unless you're going to have really, really large meals while you're out, I would say don't skip breakfast. Try to have a good amount of protein during breakfast so that you stay full throughout the day. Number 7, snack smart. This goes back to planning. Make sure that you bring protein snacks and bring any kind of snacks that you want to have on you as a plan B, so that when you are running through an airport or driving or stopping at a gas station, that you don't have to rely on what's available there. You brought your own snacks so that you can snack smart. Number 8, avoid fast food traps. You don't want to go to the fast food places. You want to make sure that you scope out the area and that you understand, number 1, any healthy restaurants where you can actually sit down and eat something. Or number 2, like I said before, have some snacks on hand so that you don't have to stop because you're ravenously hungry and you're just going to make a bad decision. Make sure you have some snacks on hand. If you're driving, bring a sandwich, bring something that you know you'll enjoy eating. Number 9, listen to your body. Pay attention to those fullness signals. Make sure that you understand. Eat until 85% full, like the Japanese say. I think that's a really cool tactic, because by the time you finish eating up to 85%, chances are that signal is going to go from the stomach to the brain to say, hey, we're full, so actually I don't need to eat anymore. Number 10, practice moderation. Make sure that you understand that if you're in a nice place, if you're in Italy and France, wherever you are, whatever country or city you're in, enjoy the treats that are specific to that place. Don't feel like you have to deprive yourself just because you're on some health kick. It's not about that. You want to enjoy, just enjoy within moderation. And then the last tip, number 11, stay active. Keep moving, walk around. If you can sneak in some workouts, that's great. Don't feel like you have to do your perfect workout when you're traveling or when you're on vacation. It's not going to happen. So why even set yourself up for disappointment? It's not going to happen. Just try to stay active overall generally, and you'll be okay. I want to invite you guys, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to invite you guys. I have a free newsletter that I send out every Saturday morning, and it's packed with tips on my experience from losing 125 pounds and keeping that off for, it's going to be 23 years now. And so what I do is I talk about mindset, I talk about lifestyle, I talk about health and weight loss. And I try to come at it not only from my experience, but from an evidence-based and science-based perspective, so that you know that everything that you're seeing in there is backed by evidence, it's backed by science. You don't have to worry about what the fitness influencers are saying online. This is real stuff that's backed by evidence. And a lot of times I try to throw in some studies there to back up everything that I'm talking about, so you have a little more confidence in what I'm telling you to do and telling you not to do. I'm going to link it below, but you can also just go to mindset.eddieroselle.com. But I'll link it below so that you can go and sign up for free. And as a bonus, if you do sign up for the newsletter, you're going to get my free nutrition ebook. So I have a whole 28-page nutrition ebook that is basically my approach to nutrition that I work on with my clients, that I help clients that I work one-on-one with. I work through this system with them, and you can get it for absolutely free. It's a 28-page ebook that I wrote. All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter, mindset.eddieroselle.com, and you'll get the free nutrition ebook, as well as there's a number of other ways that you can work with me. Links will be down below, and I'll see you on the next video.